Hey, welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Wednesday Wisdom on the Educational AD Podcast. We're going to be right back with this week's Wednesday Wisdom guest. But as always, guess what? We're going to give a shout out to our sponsors. Now, these are companies I used as an AD, used them every day. They're great companies. I highly recommend you check them out. So take 3 minutes, listen to our shout outs, then listen to our Wednesday Wisdom guest, and then go and visit these sponsors. I'm telling you, you're going to be glad you did. Here we go. I want to say thank you to Vital Signs Wall of Fame for their support of the podcast. If you're looking for a really cool way to show off your school record boards for all the teams, for all the events, or your school's Hall of Fame, go to their website, take a look at their interactive touchscreen video consoles. You put one of their units in your gym lobby, your main school hallway, it's going to be a magnet for kids, for coaches. How about sponsors? Go to vitalsignswalloffame.com. You're going to be very glad you did. We also want to thank Gipper. Your school is doing great things and you need to get it out on social media. Go to Gipper.com and let their team turn you into a marketing genius, whether it's a small post to celebrate a victory or an entire newsletter. The team at Gipper is going to have you up and running in no time. Branded content just for your school. It's so easy. Even I can do it. Go to Gipper.com to get started. We want to say thank you to Home Campus. Scheduling, rosters, results. You're going to use Home Campus every day. Their athletic eligibility and clearance platform alone is a game changer. Go to homecampus.com and don't forget to mention the podcast. We'd like to thank Sideline Interactive, indoor score tables and video boards. Go to sidelineinteractive.com and you can schedule a live web demo to see their products in action. You've heard me say before, probably the best purchase I ever made was our Sideline Interactive indoor score table. That's sidelineinteractive.com. We also want to say thank you to Hometown. Hometown continues to be a game changer for schools and organizations with their solutions that include things like, digital ticketing, athletic website construction, how about fee-free fundraising, and a whole lot more. If you're an AD, a principal, a coach, you need to go to Hometown. They're going to show you how to save time, raise more money, and bring your community together. That's hometown.com. We also want to thank Ohio University. If you're looking to get your master's in athletic administration or you have a coach or an assistant AD, you need to send them to the Ohio University program. My assistant AD, along with thousands of others, got his master's through the Ohio program. And while they were earning their degree, they also got to complete 11 NIAAA leadership training courses at no extra charge. Check out Ohio University and their online masters in athletic administration. Let's say thanks to Snap Raise. Have you ever spent weeks and weeks with a fundraiser and been disappointed in the results? Well, those days are gone. Go to snapraise.com. We used it at our school, and it was fantastic. Coaches loved it. Parents loved it. It works. Check out all their other great features. But if you're looking for a fundraiser, you just found it, and it's Snap Raise. We'd like to thank Athletic Surveys for their sponsorship. In my school, we use surveys for everything, for student athletes, for coaches, especially for parents. And the data that we would collect was incredibly valuable and also overwhelmingly positive. We still got to hear from those squeaky wheel parents, but the surveys allowed us to hear their concerns, usually address them before they turned into something big. But having all that positive data, when you're meeting with a frustrated parent or maybe your principal or your school board, it's great to have the numbers on your side. Go to athleticsurveys.com. And as always, don't forget to mention the podcast. We also want to say thank you to Huddle. As a football coach, I used Huddle for years. As an AD, we were a Huddle school, and our coaches, our student athletes, even our parents just love the platform. Go to huddle.com, join the 8 million users, and turn your school into a Huddle school. That's huddle.com. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Wednesday Wisdom on the Educational AD Podcast. We've got one of our, I'm going to say more frequent guests, somebody I like to call a friend of the show, Today we're going to visit with Megan Ziegelhofer. Megan's a certified athletic administrator. She's also the director of athletics. I think I can say longtime director of athletics at Mount Dora Christian Academy right here in Central Florida. I've got to know Megan these past, I'm going to say, few years. She runs a tremendous program. If you're looking for a professionally run high school athletic program, you can look no further than Mount Dora Christian Academy. Megan Ziegelhofer, welcome back to the Educational ED Podcast.
Thank you, Jake. Happy to be here.
Well, let's go ahead and jump right in. You and I were talking a little bit before we hit the record button. In our world, a motto, a mantra, a theme, we talk about education-based athletics, athletic programs that occur within a school-based system, as opposed to things like club sports and travel ball and things like that. And it's not a right, wrong, good or bad sort of comparison. It's just different. And so we encourage athletic directors to use that term and to talk about what education-based athletics is and what the benefits are, because sometimes I think, whether it's a well-meaning parent or a club coach, even a school administrator, might not understand what the difference is. So I'm going to go ahead and step back because this is your segment. What do you want to share with our listeners today on this theme, education-based athletics?
Thanks, Jake. It's something I'm super passionate about. Obviously, within my job, it is my job. Education-based athletics is what I've built my entire career. And as not to say that private or club sports are not important, because a lot of times those are necessary in the recruiting process and things like that. But there is nothing in the world like education-based athletics. It's a place that is an extension of the classroom, number one. Number two, you develop, it's not about winning and losing, even though, yes, of course, we want to win. But developing character traits and leadership and discipline and teamwork, all of those things are learned in an athletic facility with coaches. Those are not things that can be taught in a classroom setting. It's different. They teach other things like math and reading and how to do things of that nature. But your social skills and your emotional skills, a lot of that comes from kids competing in education athletic programs. A lot of times coaches are educators, they're teachers, but they're also educators when they're, out there doing their sport. Even on the bus, they're educating kids. Even, there's opportunities to educate and empower students for all types of growth, healthy lifestyle choices. Education-based athletics contributes to the overall school culture. It is, I always say, like, we put a lot of emphasis on football in the beginning, because we can involve so many different elements. We can involve our elementary students. We can involve our band. We can involve our cheerleaders. We can involve, we did this year recognizing each one of our seniors got to pick somebody in their life, whether it was a coach, whether it was a teacher, whether it was a janitor, who meant something to them. And we were able to recognize them at a football game, which drew attendance, which drew a sense of culture and family and belonging. Whether you were in preschool, whether you were 100 years old, there was something for everyone. We recognized our veterans, and we recognized, all different things during football season to try to start the culture strong and then transition that into, the other sports seasons. We started that last year. We hired a DJ and we did a bunch of cool things to try to generate people to come and say, like, this is fun. Like, we want to be a part of this. Because since COVID, I'm sure that other people have experienced, like, people would rather watch online than come, we need ticket sales to run our programs. And so trying to give it a feel of community and those kind of things, that's not something that you can do outside of a school setting. So I think that is important. School culture is everything. If you have a good school culture, a lot of things fall in place. I mean, there's always problems on every campus, but can elevate the morale and encourage students and encourage staff.
Yeah.
I feel like, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say that the things that you talked about, and you use football as an example, but because it does impact a tremendous number of students beyond just the team. But the image that popped to my mind was something that my head of school at the McClay School said about our role as educators, and particularly with athletics, is that we're trying to enhance the student experience, while they're at our school. And athletics is just one way that they can enhance that experience. And maybe it's from a participatory experience. They're playing on a team. Maybe they're a manager for the team or a stat keeper. Maybe they're a cheerleader or they play in the band. Maybe they're just a fan and they're coming to the games, football, basketball, soccer, you name it, to cheer on one of their friends who's on the team. And it, 10, 15 years ago, enhancing the student experience, it just seemed to me that it was kind of a private school, independent school, faith-based school concept. But since retiring in the last 5 years, I've had a number of current ADs at big public schools and even some principals. They've used that same expression. So I don't know if it's a buzzword, but the point I'm trying to make is that athletics has a great opportunity. I was going to say a unique role, but maybe there's others. It has this great opportunity to continue to enhance the student experience, which is going to enhance their life experience after they leave high school.
100%. And athletics is also a bridge. It's a bridge between departments. It's a bridge between support staff. It's a bridge between other extracurriculars. We've developed a great relationship with our theater department by allowing them to be a part of some of the things that we're doing, as well as our band and having a marching band and encouraging them to be out there and celebrating them and having our guys come over after the game and do the alma mater with the kids from the fine arts program. And it's brought everybody together in a setting that, historically is just for athletes or just for coaches. It's also, athletics is generally the front porch of your campus. It's what 75% of the people who visit your campus every year are there for some type of athletic event. Especially here, we host every single thing for every single sport. So there's a lot of people who come here and that's their first impression of Mount Dora Christian Academy. And it's their first impression of the community, seeing what we're doing on social media. I focus heavily on social media. It's a great tool. It could be a bad tool as well, but if you use your social media right to showcase your kids and showcase what you're doing, it draws attention, and people from the community want to pay attention, and local news wants to pay attention, and then that just builds your community of people who are supporting your school and supporting your students. It's also a main contributor to academic success. I know here, and in research, athletes tend, with their work ethics, tend to have higher GPAs. They have better attendance, higher engagement in other areas on their school campuses and leadership roles and student government and things like that. I know here in the last 12 years that I've been a part of this school in some capacity, 10 of our 12 valedictorians were athletes, 3 of which went to college on athletic scholarships. So and I work really hard to try to recognize that part, the student athlete, being a student first and then an athlete. Even though I'm the athletic director, their academic success is the most important thing. Especially if they're wanting to go play at the next level. If you're not a Division I 5-star football player, you're not getting a full ride on an academic or an athletic scholarship. You have to have that academic piece. They already know what kind of athlete you are. They want to know, what are your grades, what kind of kid are you, and what other sports did you play? That's a very common 3 questions that college coaches ask when they're recruiting a student. And so academics has to be their first priority, but you use the athletic piece to drive them to be successful in those areas.
Now, earlier on you mentioned culture, and Mount Dora Christian. You're fairly, you're not a dinky school. You're a good sized school, and you have a lower school, a middle school, and an upper school right there on the same campus. What are some things that you have done, and your coaches have done too, to help build connectivity from a culture standpoint with those different levels, so that a kid in the lower school in the 3rd grade, they're already thinking, boy, I can't wait to be a bulldog when I get to the high school level.
So relationships is the piece that brings everything together. Having our student athletes have relationships with the younger kids. A lot of our student athletes are in like a community service class. Essentially, it's called citizenship. It's a leadership course taught by one of our coaches who's been here 26 years. And they go into the elementary classrooms and they read with the kids and they help them, and they go to the preschool and they participate in leading chapel in the preschool. And we've had theme nights where we have an elementary night at our football game, and before the game, by grade level, they line up and they run by grade level through the helmet that the big kids run through, and they go out on the field with their teachers, and the athletic department sponsors a popsicle party for whoever has the most kids there. So I think we had like 250 little kids there this year because they wanted to run through that helmet like the older kids do. We do in the summer, we do youth camps that are our varsity coaches and our varsity athletes volunteer their time, and they do camps with the kids that are sports specific. We offer that in every varsity sport that we offer here. We have a youth camp that's for kindergarten through fifth grade that our students, it's also open to the public. So students outside of our MDCA culture in the summer can come on our campus and participate in those. And it's good. It's as good for the older kids and the coaches as it is for the younger kids, because it's important for the older kids to understand, like, you're a role model. You're a superhero to that kindergartner who sees you in your number 8 jersey on Friday night. Like, to him, you're like Patrick Mahomes, that he watches on TV. And so that also gives our kids a sense of accountability when they're walking around campus. When you're sharing a campus with 4-year-olds and 8-year-olds and 11-year-olds, you're being watched, and your actions and what you say out of your mouth and the things that you do you want those things to be modeled in a good way, in a positive way. And so that gives them an extra added layer of accountability, which I think is very neat on being in a K-12 school.
And again, you covered both ends of that idea. For the little kids, you're absolutely right. They look at those high school students, boys and girls, as, heroes, probably even asking for autographs at some point. And for the upper school students, those high school kids, it gives them a great window into the impact that they can have, that they are having right now as leaders on your school, and hopefully leaders for the rest of their life. Great stuff. We're going to do this at the end of this segment, but if one of our listeners wanted to reach out and pick your brain a little bit more, find out how you do things as a leader, what's the best way that they can get in touch with Megan Ziegelhofer?
So best way to reach me is email. My email is megan.ziegelhofer@mdcacademy.org. You can also find that just about anywhere if you Google my name or go on our school website. We have an athletic specific website that also has that contact information on there. And so email is definitely the best way. And then, if you want to chat on the phone or something like that, we could facilitate something in that nature as well.
Okay. Well, again, we're going to give that out again. And Megan's information is available on the NIAAA membership portal. Speaking of NIAAA, we're about, I guess, maybe a little less than a month away from the national conference in Tampa. And I understand this is going to be a new experience for you. You've been to the conference before, but what are you going to be doing at this year's national conference?
I am going to be co-teaching a leadership training course, 502. So I'm very excited when I received that email. I'm very passionate about the leadership training. Thanks to you introducing that to me and going through that. And it's been so beneficial, not just in learning and continuing to learn, but just building relationships with people all over the place. People reach out to me from other states that I've met at a conference or that are moving down here and becoming an AD. It's opened the door for so many things. And I'm really, really excited about the opportunity to work with 2 other ladies and that course.
Oh, congratulations again. 502, one of the foundational courses. You're probably going to have a huge crowd in that. Now, for listeners, every year as part of your national conference packet, there's a form in there, and it asks you, hey, if you'd like to be an instructor, fill this form out and submit it. So, Megan, I'm putting you on the spot now. How long did it take? How many years did it take for you to get the invite from your first time submitting that form?
I submitted it at FIAAA this year in May.
All right. So there you go. Things can happen quickly. I think for me, and again, I was thinking I got involved with NIAAA later in my career, but I filled out the form. I think I submitted it maybe 3 or 4 years, just thinking, oh, they got a million people. They're never going to ask me. but then an introduction, as Megan talked about, you meet somebody at the national conference, and this leads to another introduction, and then all of a sudden, you get an invitation to be on the national faculty. I think this is going to be maybe my ninth or 10th year. Who knows? Maybe even more of teaching one of the middle school courses. I was also part of the authorship team for the partnering with parent courses. So again, if you want to get involved, fill out those forms, introduce yourself to people, make new friends. If you're there and you see Megan, you see me, come up and say hello. We would love to add you to our network as well. Okay. Megan, one more time.
Absolutely.
Somebody wants to connect with you. How do they do it?
Reach out via email, megan.ziegelhofer@mdcacademy.org. Or you can go to our Mount Dora Christian Academy website or our athletic website and find my information directly there.
Well, again, if you're still doing your registration, sign up for LTC 502. And if you have some extra room, sign up for 701, the middle school course as well. Megan, thanks for sharing with our listeners. As always, it's great to spend time with you. Track season's going to be here before you know it, so we'll be back on your
That's
campus
right.
on a regular basis. And good luck to all your Bulldog teams.
Thank you so much.
Hey, for our listeners, we want to say thanks to you and remind you that we upload the Zoom recordings of all of our interviews to the Educational AD Podcast YouTube channel. We do Wednesday Wisdom just about every week. Just about every day, we try to share stories and best practices from the world of athletics. So please join us again on the next episode of Wednesday Wisdom on the Educational AD Podcast. We'll see you next time. Hey, before we go, of course, we want to thank all of our sponsors for making this happen. I want to say thanks to Gipper, Vital Signs Wall of Fame, Snap Rays. I want to say thanks to Sideline Interactive and Home Campus. I want to say thank you to Ohio University and their online masters in athletic administration. Thank you to Huddle, Athletic Surveys, and Hometown. Please go and visit these sponsors. You're going to be very glad you did. Thanks again for listening. We'll see you next time on the Educational AD Podcast.